So welcome to Season the Scholar, Season 3. And in the Season 3, I am getting chance to interact with many of wish list people. And among that wish list, today we have, I would say that one of the living legend in earth science field, Professor D.M. Banerjee. He is a fellow of INSA and also the chairman of INSA Committee for International Lithosphere Program Head. He was founder chairman of Indian Society of Analytical Chemists. I don't know that how much I need to read about him, but some of the prominent is that he was head of the geology department, Delhi University, and he produced many stalwarts, in fact. So I would say that today we are getting, from my stature, maybe this is a kind of interview of Pitama rather than Pita. So he is father of several fathers in earth science field. Of course, till date, he is very active. If anything happens around or on earth science, he is always there and try to sit through the event and hear them. So still, I don't know that from where he gets this curiosity of learning and what new he must be learning. I wonder because I don't think anything new left for him. But yeah, I have seen that he has been a keen listener, not only a speaker and all. So welcome, sir. This is a great honor to interview you for this podcast. Thank you very much for sparing this time on the day of Makar Sankranti. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I will enjoy talking to you and share my experience of my 81 years of my life. So it will be very interesting to talk to you, and perhaps through you, my audience may come to know about some aspect of my life. I think there's so much packed in my life of 81 years that I cannot share everything, but there may be some aspects which may be perhaps useful for the younger generation and other fellow citizens, and or you can say the other compatriots in our field.
Wow. This opening line itself has so many new words, and the word selections are very great. And yes, I think we took a little bit time and able to fix it. Yes, the main motive of this podcast is to reach out for the people in making, people who are in power, and they can learn how did you carry out yourself. People who will be in taking that position, people, budding scientists. Would you like to just shed some light on your childhood? Please mention your, what were your parents, the siblings, whatever. Please feel free. This is also a time where you can acknowledge them, remember them. I want you to go into the flashback and come back. So,
okay, it's very interesting to talk about my younger days. Especially my date of birth is very interesting in a sense that I was born on 9th of August 1942, the day on which the Quit India movement started. And for a long time, I used to aspire that the government may declare holiday for this Quit India movement on birthday. So I used to tell that I was born in such a day that when Quit India started, there should be a holiday for that. So anyway, this is, and I was born in a small town, not a small town, that time is quite a big town, Lucknow, the capital of Uttar Pradesh, and in a neighborhood of what we call a Narahi in the area. I was the 10th and the last child of my parents. We were 10 siblings. We were 10 brothers and sisters, 7 sisters and 3 brothers. So it was it was a very big family. And the difference between my eldest sister and me was 24 years. So it was very interesting. And my second brother, the eldest brother, was 22 years older, who actually performed the work of my father because he was 22 years older. The day he went, the year he went to army as a medical doctor and joined the medical services in the army during the Second World War, I was born. So you can see the difference. He was almost like a father figure for me. So that is how I started. With when I was born, then we had only 3 sisters at my home. All other sisters were already married by that time. So I was brought up in a house where my mother and my father and my 3 sisters were there. Then my father died when I was 11. So I lost my father at 11, and my mother took care of me, and we stayed together. She was the real source of encouragement, and everything, whatever I am today, was my mother's, you can say, blessings, and also mother's things, what she taught me, the way how to face the life, and then how it should be done. That is how I'm really respectful to my mother, and I'm indebted to her that she showed me the life. She showed me the way how to face life. And secondly, when my brother came, and the second person who influenced me greatly was my brother. He was medical doctor, and he was extremely well educated and extremely good in his comprehension. He was very, very well read. One of the most rare medical doctor whom you see who could read, who have read almost everything which is non-medical. So he was a sort of a model for me, that how I should sort of go through in my life, how should I progress in my life, how it was such an interesting thing that he was finally, when he retired from the private service, he built a nursing home at a place called Magarwara near Kanpur. So he had a standing order with the Universal Book Depot in Kanpur that any book which is published and which comes to the counter should be sent to him, and he will pay. And he was an account was there like that. So from religion, from war, from sociology, from economics, and from every branch of thing, he had the books, and there are thousands and thousands of books in his room. And I was the one of those. Whenever I used to visit him, I used to steal 1 or 2, and he used to call me a kitab chor. So I was always a kitab chor, and he always lied that I am stealing his books, because he wanted somebody to read his books. So he was so happy that I'm using his collection.
I mean, the I cannot say that your childhood was interesting, because losing or I should not say, even if it sounds interesting, that losing father at 11 years, but of the age is a very hard. I lost my father just last year, and in 4 times than the age in which you lost. But still, I am so I mean, I am lacking him. I feel I'm missing him like anything. But you had a father figure like brother and sister and all those things. But one thing is very interesting is that you are also like a Newton, or somebody who is the last born people who who was so required for the world. So I was thinking that, so you are the youngest, maybe a very the afterthought, the child, but
Yes.
but you were so required for the earth science field in India, and so yeah. So as a child, how were you? I mean, whether you were curious Benjamin case. Of course, you told that you had a interest in book, and one of my professors used to say, that I cannot resist the temptation to steal the book. So I don't know what is there. Yeah.
There may be something else which we would like to add, which should have been actually gone before that. That we are Pravasi Bengali, and my great grandfather migrated from Barasat district in Bengal to Allahabad in 1840. So we, our family grew up in Allahabad, and then it went up to from my father came to Lucknow, and that's where we became a Lucknowite. So I am a solid, a born Lucknowite, and with in all my attitude and when I am a Lucknowite. I don't identify myself from Bengal, but of course I speak Bengali at home, and I'm quite at home with Bengali. But I would like to call myself a Lucknowite.
Yeah. So this is and maybe this andaz is also Lucknowi andaz. Well, so like I was also interviewing Professor Asto Sharma, and he was telling that how he changed several places, and that add to his experience. So the two questions here is, one is that as a children, how were you? I mean, I'm not talking about maybe below 10 when you were there. So how you were breaking things, or you were finding rocks and trying to understand the chemistry of that.
Yeah, that's very interesting. See, I was born, I grew up in a mohalla environment, typical mohalla environment, which every Indian citizen live, not in a palatial houses or bungalows or something like where you have compounds. In a mohalla environment, we had a courtyard opposite to our house, where the children from different communities were living. There were children who were actually whose parents were actually doing the household jobs. Some were even doing menial jobs and all that. And they were my friends. I used to play cricket with them. I used to play the goli danda with them. I used to play the kancha and goli and everything. So all those things were actually, I grew up in that. And then when we used to move out to a place nearby, what we call a Banarsi Bagh in Lucknow, where we used to play the cricket. So these were my friends. These were my friends who were actually not educated. They were not, perhaps many of them were not even gone to the school. There were only one or two persons in our society, in an area, who used to go to school. So my childhood was between mostly uneducated or very ordinary people living in a very small houses and small things. Our house was one of the biggest in the house, biggest compared to others. So we had, because we got a 4 or 5 or 6 rooms. So we were considered to be a very not rich, but we were considered to be very sophisticated compared to the others. But my friend circle was all these people who were all around, and they were from the lower strata, from in today's language, I will call it lower strata. But they were my friends. They were my goli danda friends. They were my kancha goli friends, and they were even only thing
I mean, here I will
pata.
ask you about this friendship, because this one I recently heard a podcast where they said about that friends can be forgotten, friends can be left, friends, it is fine, you don't need to be guilty about it. So those friends, how many of them could carry on forward until your
None of them actually went ahead in their life. I mean, none of them. But most interestingly, there was one friend whom I called the Kamru God. He was my friend. He was about 3 years older to me, and he was my neighbor. He was not anywhere. He was our tenant. because one of our tenants, and I'm still in contact with him. He lives in Lucknow. Can you imagine? We were friends in early 40s, and I'm still in contact with him on telephone, on Facebook, and on WhatsApp.
This is a philosophical question. Is that so? What do you think? I mean, if I want to tell, because when we are in the high school and those things, or even college, we think that we wish to continue, and we want to be for long and long time period. But basically, school friends does not survive long. Of course, the last degree friend, and when we are doing PhD or masters, they somehow is always a layer, so you can at least touch the base all the time. So alumni works in higher the studies organization, not others. So my question is, do you have any, what is the message of about this friendship? Whether
No,
somebody...
I will contradict here a little bit here. One of my friends with whom we took admission when class 6 in Queen's College in Lucknow, Manatosh Banerjee. We became friends in 1952. And he is a leading oncologist. He's a retired oncologist in Chicago now. And every week we are having video conferencing with him. Can you imagine? Our friendship started in July 8th, 1952, the day when the school opens normally in UP. Schools to open at 8th of July. So 8th July, and that is surviving today. So he was one of those that he went up in the life and become a very leading oncologist there. Yeah.
No, sir. So this is not about that. And I'm so happy for you that some of them, and at least two of them, has a long inning with you. Not only that they were not separated from your heart, but also God being the graceful that they are still there in your life. But my question is that when young people starts their life, at that time they are attached to their friends. They are. My father used to say, look, they are, you not even meet them. Like my classes between 7 to 10 or 9. Somehow at that time there was no Facebook and something. Probably I have no contact. Of course, I remember them like anything. So my question is that, what is your take on friendship? What is your message on the friendship? How would you tell to your grandson, if he is like a teenager, what the friendship is all about, and what they should be doing, what they should not be doing?
You see, I have had an interest in photography right from the beginning. So even if I was not doing the photography myself, I used to collect the photograph what others are taking. So I still have photographs who were in my schools. In my class 6 to 10, I completed in a school. So at least 4 or 5 classmates, I still have their photographs, black and white, small photographs in 120 photographed in 120 film, or square negatives. So those things are still with me. So therefore, I will say that in order to perpetuate the memory of your friends, it has to be two-way thing. I always, they don't remember me. They don't want to contact me. But whenever I find time, I try to contact them. And there was sometime a very surprise meeting with someone that whom I knew long ago, but he didn't remember me, and I recognized him right in the crowd. And then he was so happy to know that I am the same person. And but when he realized that we were in the same class and sitting in the same room. So I have only one grandchild. That's my daughter, granddaughter, and she is in the second year of graduation in sociology. So my thing that you please keep track with your friends. You don't lose with them, friend. So once you make a friendship, Does not mean that you have to live with them or you have to remain with them, but keep their memory in your keep contact with them wherever they are. Just keep writing sending a postcard, or sending, if it is not a postcard, now it is WhatsApp is there. You get in touch with the WhatsApp or Facebook or wherever it is. I still search my Facebook to look if there is some somebody from my school, if he's there in the WhatsApp. I keep searching their names in the search button, that I put up the name and they say if it is there somebody, maybe of my he or she may be of my same age, but maybe I will not be able to recognize he or her. But I still try to sort of find them and make them part of my life.
Do you ever regret of losing someone who was losing means like friends, or miss him, or that oh, I wish I would have been connected, or I wish that person would have done better in his life, and so that we could have stayed friend?
No, in fact, with this age, you can say I am continuously losing my friends year after year.
Yeah.
I've been last year, 2 years ago, I lost about one of my dearest friend. He was a very well-known sedimentologist in the world, internationally known, IB Singh. I lost him. Then another friend I lost just a few days. The day we started had the corona, he died in corona. Then I also lost. So now every day, now only 5 or 6 days ago, I lost one of my very favorite students who was the director of the in ONGC, and he was my student, and I lost him. So these losses make me a little bit sad, but I know this is a way of life. This is how the life has to go on. We'll also go somewhere and they someday, and they will also go. So I have such a big span of activity and life that my friends will have to go away from me. They will have to vanish from my life, and I will also have to vanish from their life very soon.
So these deaths or these separation, how do you manage? I mean, how do you think if somebody leaves?
Yeah, suffer. In fact, I lost my wife also 8 years ago in 2014, and then also it was very bad. It was almost a year for me to sort of get out of that shock. But gradually things, I know. Then I decided that life has to go on, and this is my life. This is not somebody else's life. Now my wife is gone. Now my friend has gone. But I'm not going to live their life. Now it is my flesh and my bones and flesh where I am, and I must survive. So I made my mind that I must work, I must do something. So I keep myself engaged. That is the mantra which I always give everybody, that keep working, keep working, keep working. Don't stop working. That is the only thing. Because many of my friends have retired, and they are just either they are doing bhajans, they are going to the bhajan parties, or they are satsang parties, and they all advise me that now you are so 80 that you must go to bhajan parties. That is not my cup of tea. That is your cup of tea is right. The beautiful mug which you have.
So I mean, yeah, that was a coincidence. I raised a cup and you called a cup of
the right time when I could talk about it. So my cup of tea is work. Keep working. Use your brain. Use your limbs as long as you can.
Here there is a two thing. One thing for clarity is that you said you want to advise work. There, can you shed some light? Because for me, it seems like because you are an academician, you still remain engaged with your research or some papers or some advising and all those things. But other people who are in the government job or some other thing, they don't have work, in fact. So what do you mean by this work, and how to implement it?
See, it is all up to you. There is so much of work. I mean, there is unlimited time available, unlimited things to do. If you don't want to do anything, you sketch, you write, you do take out the book and read. So there is no limit of work. Work doesn't mean that you have to be physically doing something. You can use your brain, use your hands, use your everything, use your eyes, use your pencil, use your hands, and draw and sketch. You can do. There is unlimited. This is something very wrong with people
So
say that they don't have work.
So that way, bhajan also is like working or like, okay, I'm saying, and like that.
Yeah.
So this is also a work then?
That's also a work, of course. This depends upon how you like it. The way you do it. It is up to you. If you are a religious person, you do it. I am not a religious person, just like I don't do it. Because I've never been a religious person. And I was a religious person in my childhood, when my mother used to give me the prasad after her puja. And my most interest was in the puja was the peda or the barfi, which I will get it after the puja. So my interest was only on the barfi, not not on the puja.
So my point is that there are some akarmak and sakarmak kriya. So I mean the sometimes reading book is of course we are using the brain, but probably work comes with certain pressure, certain demands, certain those things, and it all leads to somehow work in favor of life, I guess. Because you remain in shape or you remain active, your brain cells are active and all those things. So I thought that work means that is. But retired person are always like they go for jogging or bhajan or reading. Of course, they read. Nobody would like to just lie down and wait for the death. So, but I thought that in your what you are advising for work is in some of active term. Let's get affiliated with something. Let's start something or some sort of sketching. I can understand because this is creating something. So can you just set little light on
writing? You write your experience.
Yeah.
You write your life experiences. You jot down to take out a diary like this, and then start writing. What did you do? What abuses you used for your friends? Everything.
And in this context, the writing, it is also that API for podcast. That is also
you make podcasts. Yes, sir. I have done many. I have a number of them with me.
Yeah. So as a children, whether you were a curious child, whether you were a lazy child, whether you didn't know, or your the later part of life is completely different than what people were predicting in the beginning?
No, in fact, I was a normal childhood, but being alone, being the only child in my three sisters and myself in the family, so I was very favored, and I was a little bit of what you could say, loved by everybody. So I had a very very nice childhood. Only problem was only in the schools. Sometimes some teachers were very bad. So I had a bad experiences with some teachers, and especially that shaped my life in a later life. One of my mathematics teacher was so abusive, and the moment you do a little bit of mistake in the mathematics, he will just take out a ruler and then slaps you. So I really developed a really hate for the mathematics, and that remained with my life until today. With all the sciences what I have done, all the research what I have done, I found myself very difficult. I found myself very defensive whenever there is a mathematical equation put before me, I feel a little scared. So that was
Um,
one of the things.
Great. I mean,
And
this is
otherwise, my childhood was very nice. It was my sisters protected me. The youngest, next sister who was older to me, next sister young older to me was almost 6 years older. So she almost protected me from everything, from my mother. So I could
yeah.
say that it was a very nice childhood.
I think it's surprising to know that at that time also abusive teachers were there. Nowadays, of course, it is a different scenario. I don't want to go into that
They're
line.
not permitted to do the such things. So
Yeah. That's what I am saying.
yeah.
I mean, it is a completely like earlier it was a spare the stick, spoil the child, but now there is no stick in any school.
Yeah.
So how do you look at it?
It is good that things have changed and the whole system has now improved upon, and it become a little more humane, and I really feel that I'm lucky because in my whole class of about 50, I think there were only two or three I think two became engineers and two became doctors, and the rest of them, I don't know where they are lost in the crowd. So in the system was not good at that time. So I feel that I'm lucky, and I'm say either you call it lucky or I call it say it was my uh, uh, endurance which actually made me survive in the system and then rise up in my life.
Whether you were interested in science and math or which subject, philosophy, social science?
No, I was not at all interested much in science. My major interest was in history and geography. And geography was my most favorite subject because I wanted to understand the earth. I wanted to see the different type aspects of the earth, whether it's vegetation or it's mountains or rivers and everything. And history also interested me very much. And I always I had a desire that I should be allowed to study these two subjects in my graduation studies, which I found that it is not possible. Even when I went to the intermediate, we used to have the secondary course in UP, we call it intermediate. So in intermediate, we had to make a choice. Either we take science or we go to arts. So there was no other way. The disciplines were not available in science. We couldn't study history or geography in the science stream. So I feel that this is wrong. This is something, if people want to develop in particular field, that he or she should have the opportunity to pursue his love of a particular subject. But I did pursue it in future in my life through geology. So this is the reason why I took up geology, because geology was the thing where I could study I could see the history of the earth. So I could
Yeah.
see, I could make compromise between the history and the geography together. So that is
Yes.
the reason why I came to geology.
What is your take on this, that the selection
Yeah.
of geology in?
This is a very pertinent question which you have raised. And in fact, we have been fighting when I was in service as a road department. I tried, and I'm still doing it, and I'm still pursuing it. The geology must be introduced in the schools. Unless geology is introduced in school, the student does not know that there is a subject like a geology which could be pursued in the as a higher study. For that reason, when they at the university level, when the people fill up the form, nobody fills up the form of geology, or they take it as the last resort. And consequently, We get, when in my experience with about 40 years in the university teaching, find that every time in the BSc first year, we get only the rejects from the physics, chemistry, and biology groups. So, and our job was to make them world class in 3 years, in 3 years, because if people who were only on the lowest scorer, they come to geology, and we make them wonderful geologists after 3 years. So geology should have been introduced in the school level, and this is we are doing it. And I tried my best as a being the head. I sat with the NCRT chairman. I sat with the UGC chairman, and UGC chairman at that time happened to be my friend. So I wanted that geology may be introduced. But they always say, "नहीं भाई बस्ता भारी हो जाएगा, geology अगर डालेंगे तो बच्चे का बस्ता भारी हो जाएगा." I tell him the geography class, you are having geography in this school. You increase the content to geology in that. Let the everybody knows geography as a subject, but they don't know geology as a subject. So that's the reason why in graduation level people don't go for it. But they don't realize that geography and geology both are not same. Geography is only physical geography is part of geology. The rest of it is totally different. It's mostly the human geography. So it is therefore we are still fighting even today. And only last week I wrote an article for the current science only on this topic.
Yeah, I mean, what I would, of course, it is a different Pandora box where the difference or need of geology, and because geography is substituting it. You have taken it in different level that, okay, it should be in school or those things, and an argument, I will give you my argument, but at least at the graduation level, I feel that somehow geology as a BSc geology or is little bit still neglected, and also there is no course on. There are some BTech courses, but I think it is a time now because when this space research is happening, you know that it needs a surface to even propel the rocket, and for that reason, that very reason also, I think now some BTech courses needs to be designed in field of geology and like that. I would say that some part of it, I mean, first teach them geology a little bit more, try to learn them, get connected with them with rock and soil. And then, so some part of the environmental science and geology can be mixed until college. And there has to be some way, because we do not learn the geology in our school or those things, so we don't know this stream.
Yeah, I would like to talk about a lot of things because I was teaching geology in the environmental center for School of Environment in JNU for a number of years because they did not have the geology people there. So I used to go as a geologist. I used to go there. In Delhi University, you have the environmental school science, and I taught for 5 years the geology course there, especially the environmental geochemistry and environmental sciences. So problem is that most of the environmental sciences in the country has been dominated by the biologist or by the chemist. They have been either, and within the biologist is only the botanist. So everybody thinks that the plants are the only thing which incorporates the environment. But they forget. I always, in every meeting and everywhere, I say, you forget the place where you are standing. You are standing on a soil, and that soil is earth, and earth is geology. And if you don't know anything about it, so your plant will not grow into that. Your animal will not grow into that. Therefore, your geological and zoological and botanical studies will be of no benefit if you don't understand the soil or the rock on which you are standing. So I learned about that. What is that soil? From where the soil has come? where, from which rock has produced it, that where from that rock has come, why that rock has come, from where, from which part of the earth it has come, so of what age it is, and then whether it has got a counterpart in the Mars, whether it is a counterpart in the moon, counterpart in Jupiter. So then the whole geological studies, these becomes a part of environment. So environment should not be taught in isolation of earth. It cannot be. It should not be. Because when you talk of environment, environment means what? Your environment means your atmosphere, your hydrosphere, and your lithosphere. So you talk about hydrosphere, you talk about the water pollution, but you don't talk about the material in which the water is going through. You are going through the sediments where the water is locked in. So understand that first, only then you can understand. So similarly, the ocean. The oceans are not understood. Must be understood by everybody, because the ocean currents control everything. Your monsoon is affected by ocean current. Your rainfall in any place is controlled by the ocean current. The snowfall is controlled by the different ocean current. So these things have to be taught. These are all taught in the part of the earth sciences. That is the reason the earth sciences should be an unfortunate part. The engineering courses, there is always a paper in which they are supposed to study geology, and they do it. Most of the time, they just while away. They don't come to the classes. I've seen I have taught in the engineering colleges also. They don't come to classes. They take the minimum attendance and then forget about it. That is what is happening in Deoprayag, or in this in the Himalaya. The engineers, they have no idea about what geology is, and they are constructing things there without understanding geology.
There are a lot of institutes that has been created in the field of earth science, geology, Himalayan geology, or the earthquake, disaster management. I mean, even if we do not take the disaster management and like that. But whether or not they have performed well. I mean, what is your observation of both cases, that this earth science departments on in this field and also their performance?
Yeah, I was talking about that one of the oldest institution where deals with geology was Geological Survey of India. It's more than nearly 150 years old. And they have done remarkable work all over the country, and especially because during the British time, especially with the British time, where a lot of most of the geological area, the difficult areas were mapped, and mineral will explode, the coal were discovered, iron ore was discovered, the gold were discovered, and all those things were there. They have done it. Over the years, it has expanded and has become a very, very big organization. It's almost, they have got about 3,000 geologists in their group, with all and spread all over the country. The most difficult part of this organization is that, unfortunate part of this, that it has ceased to become a research-oriented department as it used to be. One of the finest research was being carried out by Geological Survey for a long time, but is no longer. It has now turned out to be only an exploration agency, where, and present day, especially now, the government has got a policy of only finding minerals. They are not interested into solving the geological mysteries. They are not understand the geological processes. That is where actually the story of the geology starts. Lies. They want only minerals. They want to people only, they must go mineral, hook and crook, by whatever knowledge you have, you just find out the mineral. So this is not how the science doesn't grow like that. Science goes by its fundamentals. It has want us to understand in which rock you will get it, in why it will get it, in what process it will get it. So this is a wrong thing, which in fact, I have been talking to the Ministry of Mines of the several times, and I want to express my views very freely. But they say, but this is the government policy that we can't do anything. This is the government policy that you find out only minerals, and there is no scope for doing all those research what you want to do. You want to take out a fossil and you say this age of this rock is there. We are not bothered about what age rock is, they are saying. So that attitude is wrong, because then you don't have the interest in understanding the science. So science is not developing. They are doing good work for the country. They are doing finding the minerals for the wealth. They are going adding resources to the world, but they are not good science, and that is where we fall short of compare with other countries. Now, in order to do that, there is specialized institutions were created, like Wadia Institute of Himalayan Geology, which was originally known as the Institute of Himalayan Geology, but then it was changed into Wadia because of after the death of D.N. Wadia, who was the founder of that. So similarly, the earthquake engineering was started. Then Center for Earth Science Studies in Sri Lanka, in Trivandrum was started. So there were a number of institutions of specialized. Institute of Paleobotany was started by Birbal Sahni, who was specialized in understanding. So these type of things were there to do specialize. They are doing good work. They are one, but even they don't revel to a cutting edge science. They are, some of them, only maybe 1 or 2 or 3 persons in a particular institution are sort of competing on the international level, but not that the whole institution can recognize that, look, this is a Scripps Institute of Oceanography, or this is the Lamont Earth Observatory. So all the group of people are working in that particular field. It's not that. Like, I can't say that there is all workers in Wadia Institute of Himalayan Geology are excellent. There are a couple of them. They are good. Some of them are good. Some of them are of international level, but not all of them. So that is the reason we are not getting international recognition in everything. In some field, we are recognized. Some people are internationally recognized, and they are occupying important positions in international fora. And number of the organizations, they are heading the institutions there. But much more is desirable. I mean, we still have to come to the level of the US at least, because the Chinese have still gone beyond US.
My take is that I have been a visitor of, I mean, I had the opportunity to know them closely. And I realized that they have so lengthy, I mean, so much database. And if they will not be revamped now, they will miss a big flight. I will not say train or bus. Because now the big data science and this artificial intelligence, this is the time to build up on the database that has been created. You told that 150 years old of the Geological Survey and like that. There are, every department, name it, have a lot of data, a lot of, so I think digitization needs to be done of those reports and those things, maybe the revamping and all those things. And probably it must have been done in a great length. But if certain the scientists dedicated to research, because you also told that growth will not happen if there is no research. If you will become the keeper or the record keeper, then there is no future.
I will add here, one of the very important part of it, that enormous data has been created, but not shared.
Yes, not shared. I was coming on that.
That is the worst problem. It is locked up, and this in the name of secrecy. In the name of secrecy, enormous amount of data is locked up, which is of no use. I mean, I can understand that if some data is I mean, seriously needed for the problem with the defense purposes, there is okay. But everything is put into a lock and key. The Geological Survey of India has got enormous data, enormous material, enormous analysis, thousands and thousands and thousands of boreholes data available there. But they won't share to anyone. They won't give it to anyone. In fact, I have been fighting for this long years with the Geological Survey of India. Even when I was a young lecturer, and I have to go and meet in different conferences, and I always insist that why don't you share? They used to think that we will steal their data and then put it in our name. I always used to say that come and collaborate with us. Let your data be there. I also make an input, and let's make a good, nice publication out of that. But they wouldn't do it. So that is the reason why the enormous data is locked up in different organizations. ONGC is not giving any data. I can't. We have doing so much of work, of seismic work, using the public fund, but no public fund, nobody bothers about it. They won't give you a single amount of seismic data. I understand that if you don't give you seismic data on the border areas, if you have a problem. But why in the peninsular area, in the Vindhyachal ranges, in the central India, which has got no defense secret, but even then they will not give you anything. So this policy of secrecy is actually has hindered our growth. For a long time, you remember that we were not allowed to photograph any building. Now, airport, funny thing that everything is available on the satellite imagery. In your hand, in your mobile phone, you can actually go inside the airport and say you don't allow the photography. And most interesting thing, I give you a very interesting thing. We went to the Space Application Center in Ahmedabad. We visited them. Right on the board, they were written, photography is not allowed. You have to deposit the camera. And inside, and what they were presenting that we have made a camera which has got a resolution of 1 meter. No, you are producing a camera of 1 meter resolution, and you're not allowing it to photograph the gate from which you enter it. So these things are there. These things are. I mean, some bureaucrats who have got no idea about what the science is or what the security purpose is, they do it. And I put all the blame to bureaucrats in whatever states, because they are the person who run the government. It is not the government which that is. The government is run by the bureaucrats. So bureaucrats must have open mind, and they should be taught properly. Educated properly. And I've been telling them, I told some of the two secretaries there that I think there has to be a change in the Charleville in Missouri training center, because you are being trained very badly. I flat point blank, I told them, you were trained very badly in the Missouri training camp, because the way you have been dealing with these things. I will come to that some time when talk about the International Geological Congress. I will tell him that this is the way you don't work on an international level.
Anyway, the point is that these are our Indian organizations, and we, being in India, we want them to do well. And that is why we are thinking that even when they recruit, they are very high potential guys. Yes. And I know some of them who just vanished from the research area, yes, from publication. As soon as they join the government organization, their productivity becomes
zero. Active. Very true. This is what has happened.
And maybe because the freedom of doing things is maybe more, not there, and risk of doing new things is high. Risk of doing new things is so high that maybe this permanency that comes with the government
maybe transferred somewhere. You are a native of Lucknow and you will be transferred to Trivandrum. So you'll have this type of things are there.
So then that is there, I think, because at least geologists I know that one of the difficult field to have paper is earth science. I remember that I used to say that initially I was working on groundwater chemistry, and for that at least two season data is required. So I have to wait for a month for a monsoon to come and go, because and so it means that even my sampling design have 1 year to come. If I design a method, okay, this is there. And being a field scientist for several years, the doing some experiment in lab didn't come to my mind.
Yeah. No, you see, I did a lot of work on hydrogeology also. I worked on arsenic, and for 10 years we had our the probe wells, what we call it.
The piezometric wells.
Piezometric, yeah. We had installed about 7 and 8 piezometer in the West Bengal area in different areas, and every piezometer had to be monitored every month. And can you imagine? I had put up a one research scholar to monitor it every month, and every 3 months I used to go and confirm his data. So it took almost 10 years to come up with this particular answer to our arsenic pollution. So it does take time, and one has to persevere with that. And otherwise, the result will have no meaning. You will not come to a particular conclusion.
So lot of so I am saying that what I was planning to say is that so bringing paper in earth science is difficult. It takes substantial time, substantial investigation, and so there is a two part of it. But still, the academician in earth sciences are doing well, respected well around the globe. Those people who are somehow able to do this, then still geologists from India are respected all around the globe. That is also I have seen. But in the government organization and many times in academics, what happens is that we need some litholog data, some other data to support our experiment or observation, and there this connect is missing. So if that connect could have been facilitated between the government organization, scientists of there, and the academician in the geology or earth science field, then it would have been a great advantage.
Yeah, very, very true. We have turned a real pulse. This is what I have been doing, and I have been trying and advocating for years together. Luckily, this is happening now. This has started happening. A lot of people are now joining up with people from the universities and institutions and bringing out the good publications through that. Now, it is not possible for the university people to spend 6 months in the field and carry out an analysis, carry out the field work. It is possible for the survey people to spend that because that is a part of their job. On the other hand, it is not possible for the survey people to carry out research and do the chemical analysis or the biomicroscopic analysis or the different type of analysis in the lab in which they are not trained. So let there be a combination of the two. Let some people do this type of lab work and some other people do the lab field work. And both of them can share their data and come up with a publication. Nowadays, no research good publication is possible without collaboration. Most of the research paper, what you see, that you have got multiple authors, 10, sometimes 20 authors. The days of the single author paper has almost gone. Single author papers are only those which are reviews, mostly the reviews. The individual, a real scientific contribution cannot be done single-handedly nowadays. No research, particularly in earth science, I say, no research paper will be accepted unless you have put the carbon isotope data, unless you give the age data, the rubidium strontium data, or any type of lead uranium data, any type of age data. Nobody will accept the paper, and no one single person can do it. So maybe you have to connect with 1 or 2 labs, 1 or 2 persons who will be doing that, and then you come up with the paper. Therefore, it has to be a multi-author paper. This is the age of a multi-author paper, and it must be realized and by the. Therefore, this is implications also in the interviews. When we go for the interviews, this is very, very wrong that when people ask, how many papers you have a single author paper? This is wrong. He should not ask. Why should it be? There is nothing like a single author paper. Now everybody says in paper, who has done which contribution. Now it is in most of the paper, they said he has done this, he has done the analysis, he has done the conceptualization, he has done the writing. So everybody knows what contribution it is there. So it is the age of multi-author publications.
Yeah. I mean, of course, interview is also very interesting thing in India, and I will talk on that because I cannot find a better person than you. Actually, this is very naturally to go, but yes, I think the takeaways or a little bit summarizing a point that we have discussed is that first, that geology needs to be at least taught a little bit better way in 10+2 or 10th. If not before, then 10th and 11th and 12th, maybe geology can be introduced as its identity, as it is, not in form of geography or in form of environmental science. Because who knows? Because, I think the most unknown thing or still is to human body itself, because we cannot create a brain, we cannot create a liver artificially. We could not, so human body is still a subject of research, high research. I mean, yes, we can fix it sometime, we cannot, but only fixing, we are not able to create it. The second thing is that Earth. For my perspective, Earth is still to be known. And when I say Earth, that means the processes, Earth processes like earthquake or cyclone or the tsunamis or so and so forth. So there are a lot of research is needed in the field where we are existing. These are the prime need, basic needs of human life. Then maybe our life to enhance Zoom experience or enhance online experience or virtual experience, metadata and those the metaverse. These are later. I feel that institutes should be geological institute or science-based institute, especially, although it applies in any field of like labs or so-called CSIR institutions and like that, they can choose their track or KRA. They can take research, they can take a government projects, the domain. So they can dedicate themselves 5 years for research and 5 years for this one, they can change. So such kind of flexibility, if they is given to our young scientists who are recruited, our publication and research domain can change. That is the one of the feeling that I am having and what I could get from you.
This type of experiment was carried out about maybe 20 years ago, especially in earth sciences. There was exchange of people between the universities and the Geological Survey of India. There are some geologists from the Geological Survey come and serve as a teaching faculty in the university, and some teachers will go to the Geological Survey and their mapping. It was not successful. It started only for 1 or 2 years, 2 years or maybe 3 years. But there was no interest from the both sides. Neither the university teachers wanted to go and spend time in the field work, or neither the geologists wanted to spend their time on doing lab, spend their life in the lab. So it almost failed. So that is the reason what I'm saying. Let be able to make a choice of this profession. Let them be wherever they want to join NGRI, they want to join Vadianchu, they want to do anything, Geological Survey or university. Let them do whatever it is, but collaborate with other people, wherever there is availability. Now, if one institute is producing the analytical data, another institute is producing the field data, another institute with another type of laboratory data, let all the 3 institutes or 4 institutes join together and come out with something which may be acceptable to the international audience, national and international audience.
I mean, yes. I do know that sometimes the teaching is something that you should be habituated to, and like that. And by nature, humans are lazy. But the point is, at the grooming stage or at the entry level, perhaps we can give the stream that whether they want to keep on doing research and like that. everything, all study you have done from Lucknow.
Yeah.
Why? I mean, why didn't you feel to need to go somewhere?
I didn't have the means to go out of Lucknow. Because I lived my life on the earnings of my brother.
Oh.
My mother and we were all dependent on my brother. Brother was a very important, very famous doctor, very surgeon of the country. And
Wow.
I was dependent only on that. I didn't have enough money to go out of it. Several of my friends left to US after MSc, but I didn't have the money to go to other places. So I never went out of Lucknow. I never could went out of it, even if I wanted.
So one thing specific that I saw that all the studies are in Lucknow. So now, how much heart of yours is staying still in Lucknow?
Yeah, actually, I was almost a regular visitor to Lucknow as long as my mother was there. Then after my mother left, I have my nephews who are staying there. So only a few days ago, on 8th of this month, we had our alumni meet also in Lucknow University. But because of the cold, I couldn't go. I still have fascination, and not only that, the attachment with the Lucknow. I am always proud to call myself a Lucknowite than anything else.
You have served Delhi University as a full-time professor 37 years.
Yes.
I also saw that maybe your PhD, after PhD, 3 years you served in Jaipur, and then you become professor. The faculty at the Delhi University.
Yeah.
Didn't you think about doing postdoc at that time? Have you taken any sabbatical during your professorship? And how did you get the entry into the Delhi? And why didn't you thought in 37 years to change from the University of Delhi?
You see, when I completed my PhD in 1967, it was month of December. In fact, my PhD results were out when I had joined my job a little bit later. I had no other option because I was expecting my appointment in Lucknow University. I was getting because in Lucknow it was a sort of a normal, or in most places, that as per the seniority of the students, one after the other people are taken in, and inbreeding is a common thing in the state universities, that people who take PhDs from there or they study MSc from there, they get absorbed there, and that is what most people wanted it. So we were also in the same queue. I was in the line and I was about to get the appointment in the month of December. But then you remember in 1967, Indira Gandhi announced the fourth plan holiday. There was a called fourth plan holiday, and all positions on appointments were frozen. So my professor, all frozen, no appointments will be made. So my supervisor, Professor Mishra, said that, look, Dhiraj, there is no possibility of appointment, and you have an offer from Geological Survey of India, which you have declined. I had declined. Actually, I had got an appointment with Geological Survey, but I had declined. I wanted to be in the teaching. So okay, you better go and join Geological Survey of India. That's why I went and joined Jaipur and as a geologist. So, but my heart was to come back to the university. And within 2 years, instead of joining Lucknow, I got an appointment in Delhi University. So Delhi department was starting. So they took me. They were starting MSc courses. So I got into the Delhi University in 1970.
So another point was that have you thought of doing postdoc, or
yeah,
why
of course
37 years? why did you ever get a thought that I would like to change from Delhi University and go to JNU or go to
You
some
see,
abroad or
no,
go
no,
to
you see,
Lucknow?
yes, I did. I wanted to. But you know, from university assessment program or the Indian general assessment system, I was not a first divisionist. I was never a first division. So naturally, my application never went through any of the application in which I could go abroad. But especially those are of fellowships in which there was an Indian expert. No Indian expert will accept a second divisioner, MSc second divisioner for a foreign service. He will not do it. It was only when I got my PhD, and when I applied for the Alexander von Humboldt Fellowship, which is one of the most prestigious fellowships in the world, and where there is no Indian interference, where the selection is international, then I got selected. And I went on and using Alexander von Humboldt, even then, till 2011, I've been visiting Germany almost every year. So because of my second division MSc, I was not allowed to enter into the Indian system of award, getting a postdoc fellowship or other things like that. So this is how my life started.
So this 1 mark, I mean, I know that if somebody is even 1 second division from board to PhD is not a division, but until the board 10+2 or the graduation and MSc, even if one time you have a second division, it's a kind of kalank, you cannot reverse it. An interview, while people were saying that interdisciplinarity is the need of the time because not one person or one expert can solve the complex problem. But when they go to the interview, they ask how many single author you wrote, like you said. Yeah. And also that if you have done a diverse work, it goes very against your candidature during the interviews. So and you have been in the panel for several. So please tell me the gist of that from your time to now.
Yeah, whenever there are many times when I am in the panel, one of the interviewer, then I had no choice but to listen to the chairman. But whenever I chaired the session, I stopped all of them not to ask these questions, not to insist on the divisions, not to insist on this thing, because these are immaterial. Because from my experience, I know some of my toppers, all first divisioners in my class, they have not done anything in their life except to getting in first division and getting into a government job and becoming something. They have not contributed anything to science till today. So I can say they don't ask these questions, certain things which are not relevant to science. Let's ask him what contribution he has made. You just ask him that the work which you have done has got any public social relevance? Does it have any scientific relevance? That is what is important. It is immaterial what class he get in class 10 or class 12 or class 12. It is immaterial. I couldn't get an interview call for Roorkee University because I didn't have the MSc second division. In fact, the one who go. So this has happened several places. But luckily, the Delhi University, I got it straight away.
Being at one place also helps a lot. So maybe 37 years at the university, at Delhi University, might have. You are synonym of an expert in and around.
नहीं, 37 years दिल्ली में बहुत दिनों रहा. मैं अलग-अलग जगह रहा. पहले एक से इंग्लैंड रहा. मैं 2.5 साल जर्मनी में रहा. उस बीच में जाता रहा और लगातार ऑलमोस्ट हर साल ही जो है 3 महीने के लिए जाता है. 3 महीने.
नहीं, your international collaborations are well known. I mean, you stayed with one institute and all that. We have got it. Now I would like to talk about that. How did you select your PhD topic? How did you select your PhD supervisor? Of course, you remain in Lucknow. You said financial constraint, but I think there must be some hand of some suitable supervisor that you already liking, and that's why you stayed in Lucknow. Because if you could have done PhD from Lucknow, you certainly would have done PhD from Delhi or something. So your take on that?
Yeah, there was no geology at that time in Delhi University. Delhi University में तो geology बहुत बाद में शुरू हुआ. लखनऊ में, I think I'll give you a little bit of background. MSc के बाद, immediately after MSc, I took up a job in DBS College in Dehradun. देहरादून में DBS कॉलेज एक है जो DAV के साथ लगा हुआ. उसमें जियोलॉजी शुरू हुई थी 1 साल पहले, और उसमें तो मैंने उस समय जाते ही ज्वाइन कर लिया, और 1 साल 6 महीने 7 महीने पढ़ाने के बाद तो मुझे लगा कि मैं अपना करियर खराब कर रहा हूँ, कि अंडर ग्रेजुएट कॉलेज में रह जाऊंगा यहीं पर, और अपना आगे आई विल नॉट बी एबल टू प्रोग्रेस फर्दर in my life, or will not be able to do anything research or anything. At that time, of course, research was not in my sort of a planning. I didn't have any plan to do any research. But then by the end of the year, I found that I must increase my qualification, because pure MSc will have no market, nowhere I can go. And especially with MSc second division, nobody will take me. So because I appeared for the ONGC interview, I was not selected. So that's why I just decided to quit my job after 1 year, and then went to Lucknow. And in Lucknow, there was no other choice. At that time, there was the head of department and only another 2 teachers. There were only 2 teachers who were supposed to take research scholars. Everybody else were subordinates. So nobody else was allowed to take research scholars. So there was no other choice but the head of, I joined with the head of the department, with Professor R.C. Mishra, and I started working. And since there was a very, very good teacher, Professor K.S. Waldia was there at that time. He was a Himalayan geologist. So he influenced me like anything, because even from my MSc days, he had a lot of influence on my life and my learning about the Himalaya. He insisted that I should work on the Himalayas. So that is the reason I went to the Himalaya. And I joined under R.C. Mishra, but virtually my, what we call say, shadow supervisor was Professor Waldia.
When did you marry? I mean, during your study or later?
No, I got married immediately after my PhD.
Not during the PhD.
No, immediately after PhD, brother. In 1967, December, I got my PhD. I joined my Geological Survey of India. There is also a very interesting thing. I married in a casual leave. A special casual leave of 10 days, which was not possible unless you complete 1 year. I had joined only 1 month ago, and I was given a special casual leave. And on 20th of January, I got married in 1968.
1968. And this was
67 December, I joined Geological Survey.
And this was arranged marriage?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, at that
Not
time.
Of course, you can say that.
Yeah, I mean, okay. You didn't tell me okay, so those selection of life partner, a little bit now, because we, in the beginning itself, we remember the madam. How has been the journey, and how much time you took to decide that, yes, this is the person I want to spend life with?
No, in fact, I had totally decided differently. I had my girlfriend, and we and
yeah, remember you were saying it on recorded.
On record. I have, everybody knows it, because it is not a secret thing. It was
Okay.
not
Okay.
secret, and we were steady for a quite number of years, and I was about to marry.
Mhm.
I was almost, but then that time, some realization came into my mind that that was too early. It was immediately after MSc.
Mhm.
So realization come that it is too early to marry. So I deferred it, and once I deferred it, then it was deferred for a long time. Then we decided to sort of break off. Then it was an arranged marriage, and 68 I got married. I'm talking about when we were friends in 62, 60 and 62.
Mm. Um, so how has been the journey?
Yeah, journey had wonderful. I mean, we had a wonderful time, and I lost her after 45 years of our marriage,
Togetherness. Mm.
for togetherness, and uh, we have one son. He is now 53 years old.
Mhm.
Uh, I have a granddaughter who is 20.
Mhm.
Uh, so he's, so I have a quite a satisfying life, very wonderful journey, and we went through different turmoils, different type of episodes in our life. We had initially difficult time because when I got married, when I was in Geological Survey, my first time we spent time in the GSI tents, where the toilet used to be outside in a tent. It
Open.
was what we call L tent, what you call the service tents.
Mhm.
So those were difficult times in the tents. But then within 2 years, I left GSI and went to Delhi University, and then started living in the city. And then it became a routine thing. Two room house, then to 3 room house, and then to university apartment, and then to your own house. This was the situation. This is the progressive things what we have in my life. So
Okay.
gradually started from a lecturer, then became a reader, and then became professor. And every year adding up with the students, some student getting PhDs, some student getting MPhil degrees, publishing papers one after the other. That was the routine life we used to have.
How in a researcher life this marriage plays a role?
No, researcher life, marriage plays a very important role, especially very important role in a sense that if you have a quiet home, if you have a home where there is you can come back and then spend your time nicely, then it adds to your sort of, it gives you energy to do more work. And there's always a cooperation because I used to go early in the morning about 8 o'clock in the department and return about 7 o'clock, then again go back and sometime even up to 11 o'clock. So there was no complaint. There used to be complaint that why you are doing that and that. But with the standing, my wife always supported it. So because of the support, I could do work. Otherwise, it is not 10 to 5 job type of thing is not there. And in the university, so there is nothing like a 10 to 5 job. Whether I want to go there, I would go there. I will not want to go. I will work there for a whole night. So there are many times I have to spend the whole night, especially with when the PhD thesis of Prasoon Bhattacharya was taking place. I used to spend the whole day because when we were finishing his thesis, when he was pasting with papers and everything. So I used to spend the whole night. So cooperation from the
Here,
family.
here I would tell you one joke. So there was a scientist, and he was not home by midnight. So his wife called him and said, "Where are you?" So he said, "Darling, I am in drinking. I met a lady, and we are starting talking, and so the talk was really, really hard. So that's why I am getting late." So his wife said, "Oh, that means you again went to the lab."
Yeah, yeah, again into the lab. Yeah, again into the lab. Yeah, yeah.
So,
That's very good. That's
he was like, he knows that
yeah,
he
yeah.
cannot do the his,
This,
yeah, love is
yeah, yeah.
work.
This is very true in our life. It has been true in our life.
Yeah. So he said, okay, so you, um, what is her name, ma'am name?
My Anju. Anjali was official name. I used to call Anju.
Okay, so Anjali ma'am, do you, what is her degree?
She had master's in political science and B.Ed, but somehow she didn't want to take up a job.
No, no, no need.
She remained a housewife. And
So do you discuss your the problem, research problem sometime with her? That or whether she was curious
nothing to do.
what research you
No, no. I would rather talk to her about the political science. Rather she would talk about my geology, because political science everybody can talk about. Politics can be talked. Anyone can talk, but not geology.
Yes, very true. Anything left that you want to talk about this until here that you got a job? From here, I would like to talk about that. How did you grow? And there, what is necessary? So we are going to enter in your second phase. But the first phase, anything that didn't come up and you want to share?
In fact, the life little changed when we had our first child. Rather, first child was the only child we had in 1969, end of 69. And then we settled with one child and we decided not to have more. So we were happy with that. My mother was alive at that time. So she would say, why don't you have another one? And we go, no, one is enough. We looked enough. So that is how we went on.
Any bad moment or tough moment during your PhD? When you were uncertain or you thought, let's quit? Or you were very excited about the prospect after PhD? Any memory during the PhD? 5 years, or how much time you have spent in
PhD for 4 years. Yeah, of course, there was a problem. There was a problem that I won't say it's a bad memory, but I had finished my thesis by about 3 years or so. By the time 3 years, I had my thesis almost written in that. And that time, my supervisor developed glaucoma. And he was so scared that after his surgery, he was advised rest for a few weeks, but he took it for 1 year. So for 1 year, he was having his eyes covered by a screen, and he wouldn't check on my thesis. For almost 1 year, I was just writing around with my draft thesis to get an okay. So it took almost 1 full year. That was a very frustrating time for me, that I was neither getting a job. And only dependence was on the UGC fellowship of 400 rupees at that time. And there was no job prospect, and there was no prospect of thesis to be submitted. So went on and on. That was a very traumatic period. And we used to discuss this with the family, with the friends and everybody. And two of us, there were two, another student of mine, Surendra Kumar, he's no more. He died in Corona. So we too were suffering with that. So that is a bad moment, I can say.
How your career unfold, whether were some moments of the reckoning or the moments of the the frustration. Can you just tell us until and some message attached to that?
Frustration remained till I became a professor, because
after that no need of further promotion.
There was not a further promotion, because the reason was, when I joined Delhi University, 3 persons were involved. 3 persons were appointed at the time. And you know, the seniority depends upon the date of joining. So the person who didn't have any job joined first. The second one was had broke his knee, had an injury in the knee. He joined little 20 days afterward, and I was in Geological Survey of India and had to get I had to resign and get a clearance. So I joined last. So obviously, although all of three we were in the same position, I became the junior most of the three.
And who were the three?
Hmm?
Who were the three?
There was one lady called Prabha Kalia, and there was a Professor Mihir Dev, economic geologist from Jadavpur University. So obviously, I became number 3, in spite of the fact both were selected for the same interview with the same seniority. So that remains, that remained tagged to me. But then, when there was a position of readership came, when the readership came, then there was a big problem. The readership came. I was the only person in the department, in all the people, who had produced a PhD thesis, PhD student. He retired as a director of Geological Survey of India, P.C. Basu. He was in 1976. In 1970, I joined. In 1976, he was a thesis. So I was the only person who had produced a PhD thesis. But the three persons who were promoted, none of them had produced a thesis, but they were promoted. And they are two of them are no more. They are dead. And one of them is, of course, a very important person. You know him, perhaps, Professor Tandon. Tandon. So he was promoted. He got into that. So that was the one element of the frustration at that. Similarly, when they come to professorship position, the same thing happened. Same thing happened, and then I was not selected. I mean, none of the three persons who joined earlier got it, but all other people got it. So when I got the professorship, after 13 years, then things will change. But this portion remained quite frustrating all the time. And that is the time when I was teaching in JNU. For 2 years, I was teaching in JNU as a visiting professor. I was 2 days a week. I used to go and teach.
Now, what are the high points? You look at back, flashback. What were the high points?
The high point was when in 1980, when I got my got the Humboldt Fellowship, and when 3 persons, one won a PhD from the Harvard, another from the PhD from the Chandigarh. They are all applicants. They didn't get it. So when I got it, then I say that I'm definitely better than these people. A Harvard PhD also are better than that. So that I consider as a high point. And after after working in Germany, and especially on the carbon isotope, that was the only new thing in the whole country. I was one of the earliest persons who could publish on carbon isotope, an oxygen isotope in Precambrian rocks of India. So they were the earliest publications in 1970, 71, like that. So 81, 82, 83. So that was one of those of my high points. And another high point was in 1971, when I published a paper in Geological Survey of America, which was considered to be one of the most difficult at that time. Now, many people are publishing. And I could publish a paper on Precambrian stromatolitic rocks. So that was considered to be a benchmark paper, and it got into a benchmark volume of on phosphate rocks. So being a lecturer also at that time, and my paper could go into a benchmark volume.
As a human being, what kind of challenges did you face as an administrator? What kind of challenges you had when you were in the selection committees? Because especially knowing that so many selection committees have rejected you. So how did you fare on that? How do you, so yeah, these two questions, and then we will go with the rapid fire.
No, no, I was never rejected by any selection committee. I was never invited. I was never.
Okay.
So
Good.
whenever I appeared, I got in. Wherever there was a chance of appearing, then I got in. Because where I could talk and I could tell them what it is, they could judge, they can gauge. But most of the case, because of my division and all that, I could never get the call. Roorkee University did not get me a call. Like the Punjab University didn't get a call. So all those things are there. They were there. But as an interviewer, as a member of the selection committee or member as the chairman of the committee and all that, I've always been I've always tried to be very pleasant with the person. I want to make them very comfortable and ask them only those questions which they know. I always ask them, I straight away ask them that I don't want to ask because there is such a range of subject, such a range of topic that if I start asking, there is no limit of it. And if you start sitting on the other side on my table, and if you ask me a question, I may not be able to answer you because it is just possible that is. So I will tell me in which you are comfortable. You tell me yourself that I am confident in this thing. I know about it. I will talk only and only that. So I always insisted, and others also, members, please do that one. But many times people didn't do it. Other members wanted to ask certain things which were actually beyond the scope of the interview, and they tried to upset that. Some people have got a habit of upsetting the interviewer. They think that they feel if they can make the person upset and little bit of nervous, then they will be able to judge better. I think that's wrong. People should be made comfortable. They should be able to talk freely. They should be able to say what they know, because there is no limit of knowledge. You can go on asking. You can keep on asking questions. There is no limit. Therefore, you just tell me what you want to, what you know, and I will ask you only that.
Okay, so interview portion is done, but how about administrator? When you were administrator, how do you deal?
As an administrator, I was only 2 years as an administrator as a head of department, because I retired in 2004, and therefore I couldn't get the full term of 3 years. But within 2 years, I could change the whole department. Absolutely, I transformed the department. People can vouch for it that within 2 years I changed the color, whole the scenario. The labs were changed, the furnitures were modified, the new curriculum was approved by UGC. I got a committee in which I was a member of the committee of the UGC, in which the new syllabus. Even if you see today, the UGC syllabus committee of geology, it is still under my signature. My signature is still going on. Although they have changed it later, but UGC website still has the same one. So I could do that. So, and but there were some of people were opposed to me, and they wanted to put some hurdle on my work. They wanted to put, so, but those were minor things because that were expected from those people. Therefore, I didn't mind it because I knew that they are going to oppose me. So that's okay. There's a normal thing for any administrator to face opposition, and opposition can be tackled by arguments or by acts, by deeds. See, that is how I. So as an administrator, I didn't have much time. A direct administrator, but you can say research as a research supervisor is also a job of administrator, which I never had a problem with that. No, I never had a problem as a research supervisor with a student or with a research student or anything. I never had a problem.
What are why didn't you go for, if 2 years you could change the department like that, heads on, why didn't you try for becoming a vice chancellor or dean or
See, trying for a vice chancellor I think I really hate this word, because why? Because I hate this word, because vice chancellor should not have been, should be something which people should be applying for. This is a very dirty thing which has started in last 10, 15 years, that vice chancellor post is being advertised and people are applying for it. It was always a selection. It used to be a selection. There used to be a search committee. A search committee will pick up people from there and then, okay, I want this person to be there. So that is the technique. So now the sanctity of vice chancellor is gone. Any Tom, Dick, and Harry is becoming vice chancellor. I mean, people who might consider to be absolutely useless, and the person who got into one of our students is a vice chancellor in one of the suburban university here. He was admitted through a back door in our BSc course, and he is now the vice chancellor. So vice chancellor, as a vice chancellor, I don't think that I never thought of. I never, as if somebody would have sort of selected me and put me there, I would have there. But to make an application for it and trying for it, and trying means, how do you try? You try and go and meet a politician, and you meet a politician and ask them to influence the thing.
And you were Delhi based.
Yeah. No, Delhi based, of course. I knew many people. I knew all of them. Well, I never said this thing because I never wanted to sort of meet people, politician on this score. I had a number of friends in the political circle also, but I never talked about these things. I never make use of them.
I mean, again, I have a long way to go, but yeah, now I have taken it. But at least I can say yes. In the context of the newspaper that came, where they said that how much percentage of the VC in the country does not deserve that post. There was a newspaper. There was a newspaper report that VC, how there are so many VCs are incompetent, so that's what you just was.
So vice chancellorship is now being sold. It is being in the market. It is sold. UGC, a lot of people in the UGC tell me, they tell openly that you give so much of money and then you get the vice chancellor.
But what is the benefit of being vice chancellor? Maybe recruitment?
Because there is a lot of money available there, and lot of money which you can you take. Almost, you can see there was a vice chancellor in Delhi University who had about 12. When he left, he took away 6 air conditioners from his home, and all the carpets which were there. So, and there are monetary benefit there, construction work there, a lot of things are there because there is a scope of doing a lot of corruption. That is inherent in our blood. The Indian blood is just so corrupt that wherever there is an opportunity, they will go and put their hand into
that. Yes, I don't know that.
No, that's very fact. This is open fact. Everybody knows. There is nothing to be secretive about
it. You see that, of course, with due respect for all the people who have performed well and who are, I worked under Mihir Kanti Chaudhary, and he's one of the great administrator, and with empathy. He tried to even save the career, because when we are young, we may make some. MKC, Mihir Kanti Chaudhary.
Of course, yes, Mihir Kanti, yes.
Tezpur University. My first job.
I knew him.
And I am so proud.
No, I'm not saying that all of them are good.
No.
Some of them are excellent.
This is maybe my tribute to pay to him, but because the context is this, I do say that sometimes they are itself a course or department or university from whom you can learn how to manage things. how to drive things, how they are focused, and they get it done.
Yeah.
You know that I can perform good, but getting getting things done from the people is so tough.
Very difficult.
And under the guidelines, Indian guidelines and the systems and all that, and he changed the entire university and campus and like that. But at the same time, there are the one that we just talked about, that so many incompetent people. And then incompetent people brings a lot of incompetent people.
Yes. Exactly.
And those incompetent people lives for 30 odd years. And then they produces many mediocre quality of the product.
Exactly.
And that damages the Indian science and society for a long time.
Yeah. Yes, that is exactly the thing. In fact, I could feel that if I had an opportunity to be a vice chancellor, I could have done a wonderful thing, because I had ideas I could do and I could manage, and I had the managing capacity on it. But I never got this chance. That is a different thing. There are some vice chancellors who are very good, excellent, and they have done wonderful job in every place. No, but I could see it in even my own university is gradually going down and down and down, and it is now in a very pitiable state nowadays. So this is what exactly has happened. Once you get a bad person, then he collects his bad persons around him, and then it proliferates and creates a problem.
I mean, just now, that's what I'm saying, that if you would have at the HOD of the last peg in where maybe the retirement was nearby, still you could change the department. If had your organization capacity would have been realized or recognized first, it would have helped a lot of university. You might have opened a lot of geology department in several countries, the universities. So don't you think it is a missed opportunity by the country?
Of course, I think it is a missed opportunity. I feel it. They really missed my capability of management. I could have done it very well in many places, and there are many ideas which I had which got lost because of I didn't get an opportunity.
And don't you think that maybe you were a straightforward speaker? And you speak your mind, and that came between this.
That's the biggest problem. In fact, I have always been known for this straightforward talking, and that's why I suffered. Many places they say, "Oh, isko nahi lena hai. ये बहुत ज़्यादा बोलता है. ये आगे criticize करेगा. मत लो. Don't take it." तो ये problem होता है कि कहीं भी even कहीं पर there are many places, some committees also don't take him because he will create a problem. So I've always been straight talking, and even I've been going on doing it, and I'm doing today also.
It's fine. It's fine. You led a life, and you know that. There is a two-way change. One, that what society would have changed and treated differently to DM Banerjee. But what DM Banerjee would have done now if he has to start all over again?
That's very difficult to say at this moment, because.
So my point is, what will be your advice to the young people?
There were opportunities when in the early part of this thing, that in 2000, 2001, 2002, the type of environment, the type of opportunities which were there, how to do it, was different from in 2023, 2 decades afterward. So if I say anything, it will be wrong, because it will be colored or influenced by what is happening today. What we have, the things what we have today. There are lots of things which were not available at that time. I would have, like for example, tell you, I used to say very boldly that the development of the country depends on that if you have a very good xeroxing facility and a telephone facility at your place, then you can do a lot. That time, because there is no xeroxing facility. So people used to say this is a capitalist view. You have a capitalist view because xeroxing. That time it was such an important thing that if you have a Xerox machine in your department, it was something great, and everybody and not only that, there was a restriction. You can have only 10 pages to be Xerox, 10, 20 pages Xerox. I could make it that everybody can Xerox. So those type of things were possible. Now it is a totally different thing. Now Xerox machine is already gone. Now already people use Xerox machine. So things have changed. In America, there was an American meeting we had, and I told the exactly thing that India can grow if we have a good Xeroxing machine, good automatic telephone machine. Now everybody has got it now. So
It is still there.
Now what is going to happen next 20 years, I cannot predict, because things are becoming miniaturized, becoming smaller and smaller, and then totally everything is gone. You can see the mobile has changed everything, the whole thing. Now even mobile will go away very soon, where something else will come up.
I wanted your message to a young person who is set to start the career. What kind of things they can learn or they can get from your advice that they can do better? They can.
My basic advice will be that try to adjust with what you have and try to make the best take the maximum benefit out of that. Because if you start cribbing that you don't have this, you don't have that, and that, you'll keep on cribbing and you will not actually get to the final thing. You try whatever is available to you, whatever facility you have got it, whatever funds you have got it, you try to you cut down your need within that and produce something which actually you can justify that expenditure. So say I'm not able to do this work because this is not available. I'm not doing it because this mass spectrometer was not here. Because that machine was not here. If you do keep on doing it, nothing will be achieved. So if you have got a one equipment, you have suppose you have a spectrophotometer, you're happy with the spectrophotometric analysis. But if you can get some more analysis done by mass spectrometer somewhere else, get over it. But be satisfied within that and try to optimize your work and be sincere with your work. And most important thing, which I think I'm one of those persons who work with geoethics, that be ethical in your approach. Don't cheat. Don't cheat with your data. Don't cheat with your work, and that is something important. That's it.
Here I was. So these is also make them a good researcher. But what I felt is that research करना तो सीख भी जाते हैं. मतलब they may have the good ways and they learn it from abroad or something and like that. But how to deal superiors, how to deal colleague, how to deal the soft skill. I am talking about seeking some advice on soft skill to survive or to thrive in Indian context.
Yeah, that's a very, 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 very difficult thing because it depends upon the person to person. Because there are people who are excellent with their students. They teach their students as their friends. There are supervisors who teach students like the servants. They also teach students like a dirt. So using teachers, student as and also I would say bonded laborers. That is something very discreditable. This is not good. This is something bad, and many a time after the end of the work, end of the project, they even don't give the credit to the student. So I'm very much for students, and I'm not supporting my supervisors, because supervisors, I've seen many supervisors are extremely bad, and I would not support their attitude towards their students. So they have to learn this survival. Like everybody has survived, we have survived through the same situation. There was a situation in my time, in my PhD, even in 70s, 60s, that my shadow supervisor said that I don't want to check your papers. You go and talk to your supervisor. And the supervisor said that I don't know subject. I have given it to the shadow supervisor to work on it. And he says that I won't check. Then we were in a sort of in such a soup that who is going to check our work? Who is going to give us guidance? So such type of things happen. It has happened. And it has happening. It will keep on happening. And it depends upon the person to person, his own personality of that person.
So this is a message for the PhD student.
Yes.
But I am seeking a advice for myself, or consider a mid-career or a person who has joined as a faculty. Now, what they need to be careful about?
Yeah, that's within faculty also. You have to. There are two ways to survive. Two ways to survive is that you keep yourself aloof with everyone and just work on your own. There is one way. Close your door, work on your own. You come here. Your job is maybe 2 lectures in the morning. You come here, lectures, come here and go back, and confine yourself to your lab and your own. The other one, then if you are very sociable, another, you just find out the person with whom you can have a rapport, and work with him. Maybe he has got some idea, so with whom you can go and have a tea in the corner in that JNU Dhaba. So you can. So there are two ways. The most secure thing is that confine yourself to your room and work. And don't get disturbed with what people are saying. Keep attending the staff council meetings and other things and all things, but don't bother much about others. Unnecessarily don't envy others, because there is a possibility that some people will get more. So you cannot help it.
How did you deal with that disappointment?
No, I never felt it, because other people feel it, because I feel that these are immaterial things. These are things which don't matter in your life. If you are a member of more than one, there is what we call, some people are committee men. They are always in the committee. They are called committee. Their aim is to get into some committee or other. So they feel they are very proud and they are doing a lot of science. And you will be very surprised to see there is an application. In the science academy, there is a category new created, where people who have done work for the country or work for the society, other thing, and even if they have not produced a lot of research, they can also be elected as a fellow of the INSA. This is the category. One applicant has sent an applicant. He said that he was the scientist H in his organization, and he was responsible for distributing scholarships to so many people, hundreds of people with whom he had given the scholarship, and he has sanctioned research projects of several hundred. So that is what he says, that he has done. He has contributed to the science by distributing money to these people. Now, can you imagine that such type of attitude? Funny thing, they feel that they have contributed because of his position. He was the head of the position. Naturally, he has to sign everything. So to become a member of a committee, you feel maybe happy for some time, and you see, but doesn't actually give you any. Nobody makes it is not worth it.
I mean, definitely many people who are, I think this podcast is liked by same amount of mid-career and PhD or beginners researcher. And that's why I want to keep, and also keep something for both of the parties. And here, this lesson that this is not meaningless, perhaps will not work. I mean, if we will say to some ambitious people who wants to do something and like that, look, this is not so important. For certain extent, yes. But those people, first of all, I wanted to say before is that why you could do good as a head, because you had a good knack of planning a research, doing the research, finishing the research, and all that. So generally, I have seen that a good researcher is most of the time is a good administrator as well. I don't know in terms of not the maybe may not be the man management or pleasing the people, but getting things done. Because they are trained in that sort of the time. So once some people becomes a good researcher, and then after a certain age, they think that now this research should be converted or paid to the in terms of these administrative positions or these power and all that thing.
Yeah,
so what will be your...
That is quite natural, because people think that now you have accumulated so much of knowledge, people should make use of it so that he should be able to use that thing to straighten away some problems or select somebody who could be of good use. So you want to be in the committees where you should have been there. And you may sometimes feel frustrated why you are not there. That is all quite natural. So it is a human trait. So.